So I'm going to give you quickly just a couple of ideas. This is from the 3.5 section of the document in the food part. And the big idea is that producing food for our society requires many people and lots of work in planting, growing, harvesting, transporting, and processing crops. Stuff you're all familiar with. The essential question fits right with that. What people, tasks, steps, and resources are required to produce food and bring it to the table? Oh, good, it shows on yours. It doesn't show on mine. So we work with Teachers College Columbia, and we work with a lot of different curriculum. And one of their curriculum, Growing Food, has a unit where kids are exploring exactly this big idea and this essential question. Lots of schools in our area grow grapes, and I guess they must back in New York too, because Columbia has developed a whole series of lessons around that. So we can start by just growing grapes and having kids tend the grapes and water the grapes and pick the grapes and eat the grapes, or we can turn it into a science lesson for kids by starting with, what do you already know about grapes? Now, any good teacher knows that you always start, or almost always start, with assessing prior understanding. Lets you know where the learner is, gets the discussion going so that they're not passive about it. And then we give kids jeweler's loops and ask them to look at that grape very, very closely. What do you notice? How is it structured? Or why are they like that? And what does it remind you of? That series of questions takes kids from just observation to considering the structure to considering the function. What does it remind me of, and why might it be built like that? And then we take it a step further. Based on what you already know about grapes when you came here today, and what you just observed as you looked up really closely at that grape, write down how you think grapes are turned into grape jelly. And then we have the kids actually do it. Before they do it, we have them list what steps are you and your team going to take to create grape jelly. So you see, right here is the scientific process. List what you're going to need for your procedure, and what do you think your results will be? Okay, these are grades K through 5 kids, but they're forming a hypothesis, they're designing an experiment, and they're estimating what they're going to find out. So after the experiment, we ask them to think about, so now that you've done it, how do you think grape jelly you buy in the store is made? Yeah, they did their own experiment to try to make grape jelly, which usually looks like a big smush of grapes and water. And then, how might what happened in a factory be similar to what we did in class, and how might it be different? What do you think happens to the seeds in the skin? And this is one kid's depiction. Then the kids actually they learn about the process of making grape jelly. I know that's kind of crazy. The need for a thickening agent, so they use a local thickening agent of agar. They add sea salt, and they go through the whole process of making it and canning it or jarring it or putting it up, and then selling it at their harvest fair. So again, it's just an example how at grades 3 through 5, you can take something like growing grapes in your garden and turn it into a very rich academic set of lessons. One other really quick example, again this is grades 6 through 8, and it's from the culture section. If we take the big idea, cultures have distinctive food patterns and behaviors that can change due to a variety of influences. The essential question, how do ideas, values, and behavior patterns spread within a culture and from one culture to another? Well, here's what the Martin Luther King teachers have been working on for grades 6 through 8. In our state, and I think it's common in most states, kids at 6th grade learn about ancient cultures. So they use this big idea and this essential question to teach their history, social studies around ancient cultures. So they're studying the Silk Road. And they're looking at how important that conduit was. It was like 1 millennium BC to 2 millennium. And they looked at what happened during that incredible time when technology and products and culture and all those things were moving from east to west and being shared across cultures. It's really the first time that scientific understanding and social understandings were being passed from east to west. So they take this whole unit and work on the Silk Road. And they study the farming that happened during that time, how they irrigated, what the soil was like, what they grew in the garden. In the edible schoolyard, they grow chickpeas and they grow rhubarb and they grow grains, so they're able to actually see and use some of the plants that were used and traded along the Silk Road. Those of you who know of the cellist Yo-Yo Ma, he has a wonderful Silk Road unit that's online that you can download, and it's all about the cultural exchange that happened during that incredible time. So the King teachers have developed this, and they listen to Yo-Yo Ma's music. It's very cool. And so they've developed this whole unit on the Silk Road. They've done another one, an incredible one that I won't walk you through, but it's a Mayan walk, where they set up this walk in the garden, and the kids grow corn and make tortillas and learn about Mayan culture and learn about Mayan astronomy, and it's just amazing. And then another one they do is Mesopotamia, and it all focuses on irrigation, and the kids build these sand tables in the garden, and they learn what happened when they depleted their land and would just move to another plot, and pretty soon all the land in that area was depleted. So they're learning about the need to take care of their garden soil based on what happened in Mesopotamia. I'm just going to run through really quickly because it's kind of exciting. I have 1 minute remaining, and that's all I need. You know, Martin Luther King just opened their new dining commons 2 weeks ago, and this is where Chef Ann Cooper will have the central kitchen as well as the dining hall for Martin Luther King. So this is like the first day, and kids are running to get to the dining commons. And then you can see the kids eat at like nice tables, and they eat off real dishes, and they're eating healthy food that's all made from scratch. It's just a really beautiful building. And then the whole composting system is set up as part of the structure of the building. I know, don't you love that face? I just love that face. So they compost all their food. They, as you saw, they were using paper cups, but they're able to compost them. So these little, what look like white bowls, actually go into big bins that are under that silver surface. Anyway, it's really remarkable, a wonderful place to visit. So Big Ideas is going to be a series. We're going to follow up with one on waste and consumption and on global warming and on energy. And it's also, each one is going to be followed by something called little projects. So little projects will be more full-blown activities. You've got sample activities and Big Ideas, but it'll be more full-blown research projects and project-based learning activities that teachers can do. So that's that from the Center for Ecoliteracy. Thanks very much.